Hey, it may only be the middle of January, but that means fantasy football season is what? Only like 8 months away? Let's start talking about some way too early running back rankings. What is going on, Headliner Nation? Hopefully everybody's doing well out there. Coming at you today, you see Kyle is back. Kyle is here, and today we're talking about some way too early rankings, but a lot of people are starting to do this, so we figured, you know what, let's just throw our name in the hat. I mean, we'll talk about who we have coming up here for 2019 as of, January 18th. This is our top 12 running backs. I mean, this could change drastically over the next couple months, but hey, it's something to talk about, some fun. There's been a lot of moves already in the NFL, and we're really going to kind of start to just kind of piece it together, so that way the time that the season comes around, We've made it a ginormous, beautiful puzzle, Kyle.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, way too early. So there's a lot of things that are going to change. We have a draft coming up. We have free agency that's going to happen. We have players that could be cut. So these are way too early, kind of how we see things playing out, possibly over the off season in terms of how people finish this season heading into next year. So these shouldn't be taken too seriously, but they could be used as a potential guide for maybe dynasty owners out there, or those of you who are redraft owners and you just love to consume some more information.
Yeah, you can never have too much fantasy football. So we're kind of just we each have our own rankings. We didn't split it up into like a show because I don't agree with a lot of things that Kyle does, especially somebody that's coming up on his list. That's just an Easter egg. I just kind of threw it in there to keep you wondering who may be on Kyle's list. But there's a reason. We're going to kind of split it up. We're going to let Kyle go through his top 12. We're going to give just a brief description, kind of where we're at as of right now. Like he said, so many things can change between now and everything going on in the offseason. This is just an initial start. I mean, heck, there's still games to be played. There's still, 3 football games to be played this season. A lot can change, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to get right into it, and Kyle is going to start off first. Why? Because I don't have my notes on my screen yet, so therefore I put Kyle on the spot.
That's okay. I'll lead it off. So first thing I want to say is typically when I do these rankings, I think from a PPR standpoint, or at least half PPR. So I'm taking that into consideration with these rankings. So just want to throw that out there right now. My running back one heading into 2019 is going to be Ezekiel Elliott. Now, he was my running back one last year too. Little bit of a up and down start to the season, and that may have turned some owners off, but a strong start to the end of the season, or a strong finish to the end of the season. So just a little tidbit out there, since week 9, which was Amari Cooper's first game, Ezekiel Elliott averaged just over 6.2 receptions per game. That would have been 99 receptions over a 16-game pace, which would have been second among running backs behind only Christian McCaffrey. I expect that type of contribution to continue next season. So that's why I have him as my running back one. Now, moving on to my RB2, Todd Gurley. There might be some people who are concerned with the way CJ Anderson has been used. Maybe he resigns with the Rams. I really don't end up thinking that happens, though. I have to just continue to go with Todd Gurley here. Another strong season for him next season in that offense. Saquon Barkley is going to be my running back 3 heading into next year. Like I said, I am looking at kind of a PPR standpoint. So this guy, I mean, awesome rookie season. Absolutely. Well, if OBJ, Odell Beckham Jr., is healthy all year long, maybe does that take away from a little bit? Maybe they can get Evan Ingram going. Who knows? So I have him as the top 3. I don't quite have him as the top 2, though, which a lot of people do have. Christian McCaffrey coming off a huge season. I am putting him at number 4. Again, he's going to be doing a lot of the workload again. I don't really see them except bringing anybody in except maybe some pieces here or there. And the Cam Newton injury is going to be interesting to also keep in mind as well. If this is an injury that does affect him heading into next season, maybe they have to just continue to lean on Christian McCaffrey, and he has to be that workhorse for them. Alvin Kamara coming in at running back 5. Mark Ingram is going to be gone. I highly doubt they're going to re-sign him unless he's willing to, take less of a deal to stay there and continue in his role. But they've got some other guys that can back up and help out. So I really don't think Mark Ingram is going to come back. I think that opens up a few extra touches per game, at least for Alvin Kamara. So I think he's going to finish in the top 5. Melvin Gordon coming off a great season at number 6. No disrespect to him. he's still a top 5 running back for me. I'm going to put him there. Nick Chubb jumps up into the top 12 at 7. Love Nick Chubb going into next year, especially with keeping Freddie Kitchens on. They're going to continue to roll in that offense just the way that they have. Joe Mixon checks in at number 8. Fantastic season this year. I think he continues it next year. If he hadn't missed those couple of games with his meniscus injury, then we wouldn't have had, maybe not meniscus. I'm trying to remember now if it was meniscus, MCL. It definitely was
meniscus, yeah.
Yeah. So, he missed a couple of games with there, or he probably would have finished higher in 2018. James Conner comes in at number 9. So he is going to, again, be the lead back in Pittsburgh next year. Maybe if Antonio Brown does end up getting traded, maybe a few extra targets James Conner's way. I know people are thinking Jalen Samuels, what will happen with him? I don't think it's enough to take away. I mean, typically in Pittsburgh, they've leaned on one running back. I don't think it will be that big of a timeshare that we need to knock James Conner down. Dalvin Cook, if healthy, is number 10 for me, and I'm going to go into next season expecting him to be healthy. I really like what he has shown so far, and I like what they're going to be doing there in that offense heading into next year. David Johnson's going to come in at running back 11 for me. I still like him, but as of this recording, there are conversations that Hugh Jackson could potentially end up in Arizona. So I'm being cautious. Okay, I'm being cautious. I've said that I do like David Johnson. I like Cliff Kingsbury for David Johnson. Just going to be new offense, new year. I like him as a running back 1, just like this year. I think he's a little bit more consistent next season, though, so he could end up finishing a little bit higher than that. And this one might be a surprise for a lot of you, but I'm going to check Derrick Henry in as the running back 12. And because I think at this point, the Titans have learned their lesson after your face is killing me, man. I don't know how I'm supposed to keep going. Anyway, so Jake's giving me that look of disbelief right now, but I hated Derrick Henry going into last year. I said, don't fall for this one playoff game, because Derrick Henry in 2017 lit up the Chiefs in the playoffs. We all bought him as a running back 1 because of that, because DeMarco Murray was going to be gone. And then all of a sudden they sign, they bring Deion Lewis in. And then at that point, Derrick Henry loses a little bit of value. But I think now the Titans know the recipe for success. Run with Derrick Henry, and then let Marcus Mariota be Marcus Mariota. And I think that's how my top 12 will end up rounding out heading into the 2019 season. Again, could see a lot of switches, though.
Yeah, there should be a little bit of switches. I mean, and I know I made a crazy face there, but it's just hard because, I mean, Derrick Henry was literally cut last season in the majority of leagues. And then all of a sudden comes in end of season, absolutely kills it, and we fall for it, and we put him in our top 12. Is it just enough to be like, oh, you almost had it? Like that commercial with the guy with the fishing pole? That's what I feel like.
I do know what you're talking about. Here's the thing, too. With Derrick Henry, I didn't fall for it last year. I told owners, get away from him. Those that had him, I said, sell him right now, okay? Do it. Get rid of him. Don't worry about it. But I think they've learned their lesson. I think they understand at this point that it is going to have to be that route with that offense in order for them to be successful, or at least be a little bit more consistent than they were this past year. But if they do that with Derrick Henry, Derrick Henry's in the last year of his contract too, before he's unrestricted free agent. They need to see what they have with Derrick Henry, because he's going to command a contract. Do they give it to him or not? So they're going to use him up. The next year is going to be his year.
They're just going to run him till the wheels fall off.
Could be.
I mean, might as well. It's not a bad idea. I mean, he did. He looked great there end of season. Hopefully he can keep it going. So, all right, now we'll go into my top 12, and it's a lot of the same names. I don't know, though, if we had one person in the identical same spot. We have a lot of the same names, but I don't think we have any of them matching exactly.
We were close.
We were pretty close. Our top 3 are similar. It's the same 3 backs. I have them in a different order, and we'll get into here. My number 1, I fell for it. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. Kyle, I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, and I'm going with Saquon Barkley. Just like you said, we base a lot of things off of PPR points. The dude had 91 receptions as a rookie running back in the NFL, and as of today, January 18th, Eli Manning is still the quarterback. And as long as Eli Manning is the quarterback, I really like the upside of Saquon Barkley. Finished the season with 15 total touchdowns, over 2,000 yards from scrimmage. I mean, anything that they can do to this team to improve it is only going to help the potential of a Saquon Barkley. And if this is what we see his rookie year, sign me up for round 2. But really, with the top 3, I don't think you can go wrong. For number 2, I got Zeke. Zeke had Can you call it a down year? I mean, I guess you could. He had 1,400 rushing yards, though. I mean, the only thing that really kept Zeke from being the top running back is touchdowns. He only had 9 total touchdowns, which is down from his average, but still somebody who's going to command over 300 touches. Had 77 receptions this season. That's a career high for Zeke, and that's kind of where I expect it to stay a little bit. It may take a slight hit if they add any weapons there in the offseason. I expect Michael Gallup to take a small step forward. I'm not going to mention the other wide receiver there, but it does help open up things for Zeke Elliott. Number 3, Todd Gurley. You mentioned it before. A lot of people are going to be worried about C.J. Anderson, and this is one of these things that we may need to watch, all offseason. Are they going to go to some type of a two-back setup? I mean, I wouldn't think so, but would I be shocked if they did it? Not really. I mean, keep Gurley fresh, keep him healthy all year long, all 16 games. Spell him with C.J. Anderson. I mean, C.J. Anderson is a cheap fix right now just for some added depth. I mean, I'd take him over Malcolm Brown or John Kelly, and he's looking great right now. So definitely something to watch. Now, if C.J. Anderson is cut at some point or he's not there next season and it goes back to the Todd Gurley show, Todd probably jumps right back up into that number 1 spot for me.
That was going to be my question for you real quick, too, since we're on it. So if it comes out, they resign C.J. Anderson and he is on that team heading into next year, do you drop Todd Gurley at all? I
mean, not really. I mean, if you look at his stats this year, 1,200 rushing yards and 17 touchdowns. I mean, the touchdowns is what you're going to get with Gurley. He also added, another 4 through the air. 1,700 yards total this season. I mean, you're still going to get a huge chunk of volume from Todd Gurley, and you've seen it even in the playoffs. He may not be getting that 25, 30 touches a game, but he's super efficient with what he gets, and he can be productive with, 10 to 15 carries a game. He's still going to give you solid numbers, but they're not going to cut him back that much. I still think that he sees close to 20 touches minimum a game. Number 4, I got Melvin Gordon. I think if Melvin Gordon had stayed healthy this year, he may have finished, top 2, top 3 running back. I mean, he had 885 yards on the ground, 490 yards through the air for a total of 14 touchdowns, and he missed a lot of time with a knee injury. I think Melvin Gordon is somebody who, if we can keep him healthy for 16 games, is a surefire lock right there in that running back 5 area. I mean, the guy is just super efficient. He gets tons of work in that offense, and he's going to get, 95% of the goal line touches. Yes, they still have Austin Eckler and Justin Jackson, but who cares, really? I mean, if Melvin's healthy, he's touching the football. Number 5, and I don't know if you said this name in your rankings, Le'Veon Bell.
Nope.
I know you didn't. I was listening. But this is kind of have an asterisk next to it because we have no idea where on God's green earth is he going to be playing. And that could really sway the way that the rankings go because he's somebody who is a ridiculous talent. And what if we put him somewhere like Indianapolis, which has been a rumor? All of a sudden, I like Le'Veon Bell quite a bit in Indianapolis.
Tampa Bay.
I don't like him in Tampa Bay. It's better with Bruce Arians. I'll put it that way. It's better with Bruce Arians. But that
Jets.
Ugh. No. Not really. You put him in there with the Jets with Adam Gase. Look what happened with Kenyon Drake.
Yeah.
I mean, what were they going to do? Make Le'Veon Bell a third down back? I mean, who knows what's going on with Crazy Eyes over there in New York? It's something we need to pay attention to, though, because wherever his landing spot is definitely going to be a deciding factor. Number 6, Alvin Kamara. I think that once Mark Ingram actually leaves town, and we can officially say that, I think Kamara may get a bumper, a spot or 2 up in the rankings because he's just going to be super. I mean, look what he did, the first 4 games of this season? It was crazy productive, number 1 running back in fantasy. Still ended up with 883 yards rushing, 709 yards through the air, 18 total touchdowns. Definitely one of these guys that will be a surefire RB1 once again. Number 7, basically his lighter complected twin, which is Christian McCaffrey. The only thing that worries me about McCaffrey is what happens if Cam does sit and opposing defenses just take away McCaffrey. I mean, who else are they going to have here in Carolina? I saw somebody, and I wish I could remember who it was, and it was a tweet that came out of where are possible landing spots if Nick Foles gets traded. Carolina's name came up, and I don't like that really, but they really have no other options if Cam doesn't play. I mean, who's going to be the quarterback of the Carolina Panthers? I live here, and I couldn't tell you. I mean, there's just not a whole lot of options, and that's what I worry about. If they don't have a true passer back there to at least keep the defense honest, I think it could hurt McCaffrey's value slightly. Number 8, David Johnson. I agree, though. The hiring of Cliff Kingsbury is a definite plus for him, but when I saw the news about Hugh Jackson, I wanted to pass out because I thought it was a joke, and then I realized it wasn't a joke, and then I was just pissed because why does Hugh Jackson get coaching offered? What has he done to deserve a coaching job? He's like
I feel like he'd ruin Cliff Kingsbury.
He's like
any offensive creativity he has
is gone. He's literally like the NFL coaching version of Stephen A. Smith. He has no idea what's going on. Did you see that other clip today?
I didn't see it, but I heard about it. Kareem Hunt apparently is going to have a huge game this week.
Yeah, Kareem Hunt. Yeah, in the NFC Championship game, is going to kill it. Awesome. All right, moving on. Not going to get sidetracked here. David Johnson, definitely somebody who's upside I like. Still a top 10 play regardless. Number 9, Dalvin Cook. If he could just stay healthy, it's another one of these guys that we haven't seen the absolute ceiling of Dalvin Cook yet. If he can get healthy and get a full workload in Minnesota, definitely somebody that you may be able to get second round this coming up year that could turn out to be a huge stud for your roster. Number 10, Joe Mixon. Now that we don't have to worry about Hugh Jackson. I mean, do we have to worry about Hugh Jackson there still?
No.
Are we sure?
That ship has sailed. He's done.
Are we sure?
I think so.
I think so, exactly. Once we can rule him out, I mean, then all of a sudden every player gets an immediate bump. But Joe Mixon has the talent. Somebody who can be involved in both the passing game and the running game. Solid RB1, low-end RB1 in my opinion here going into 2019. Number 11, now this is where I put James Conner. Because I don't know. It's hard to figure out the Steelers. And yes, we don't know about Antonio Brown. It does kind of sound like there's a chance he's not there anymore. But is James Conner the answer? I mean, a lot of us in the fantasy community, we like him, but are they committed to James Conner? Maybe, but I mean, they weren't committed to Le'Veon Bell. They weren't committed to Antonio Brown. There's all these different problems that go on. Does James Conner kind of fall by the wayside? Hopefully not. I got him at RB11 right now. His upside is absolutely huge in that offense. If they lose Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown in the same season, it's going to be a ridiculous amount of targets that have to go somewhere. And Juju and James Conner, we'll see the majority of them as of right now. Number 12.
They did hire one of Jalen Samuel's old coaches from NC State.
Yep. Exactly. I mean, is that something that turns into a thing? I mean, it hasn't been in the past, but it's possible that they do now. And then number 12, I mean, I tried to throw my boy in there. Give me some Chubb, Nick Chubb. I think he actually has the potential to get inside the top 10, especially now that we know Freddie Kitchens is there. Definitely somebody who he's going to see 20 touches a game. Not too many running backs in football see 20 touches a game. He is definitely somebody with some huge upside, and he has the ability to move up this list the closer we get to the season. And
I'm surprised I had him higher than you, actually.
You do. I was a little bit shocked, but I was like, I'm going to be realistic. If I throw him in there at 5, everybody's going to say, oh, you just like the guy. Well, I do, but, trying to be somewhat realistic.
Go with what the gut feels. That tells you 5.
I can't go with what my gut feels right now. I had chili for dinner, Kyle.
That sounds amazing, though. I'm not going to lie. I like some chili.
It's a little cold outside, a little chilly, man. It's good.
It is. We're supposed to get like 10 inches of snow this weekend, so.
That does not sound very good.
Nope, does not.
Lucky you.
A lot of shoveling.
You're shoveling?
Well, I'm not going to do a lot of shoveling because I just bought a new snowblower, so.
Well, sorry,
anyway.
Mr. I have a snowblower now. Must be nice to have a snowblower. I just have an 11-year-old son.
And that's a long backstory, or I would go into why that's actually funny, but we don't have time for that.
No, absolutely not. We're not going to waste a whole lot of time over here. We just wanted to get out here real quick, get our top 12 for the running back position thrown out here. Like I said, everybody else has been doing it. I mean, people want to know what we're thinking. Here we go. It may be early, but this is our thoughts here early in the preseason. It's not even preseason yet because the season's not even over yet. I've never really understood this, but we're going to go with it because a lot of people do it. And you know what? Give the people what they want, Kyle.
Yes, exactly. Love it.
That's the saying for the years. Give the people what they want. You guys want early rankings. Here you go. Hopefully that was able to start to get the brain moving here towards 2019. We're going to be doing one of these videos for each position, so make sure you go check those out. We'll have wide receivers, tight ends, and quarterbacks here over the next couple weeks. And And it's going to get fun, getting right back into the fantasy football swing of things. The NFL season will be wrapping up, and we have nothing else to look forward to except baseball.
Baseball's coming.
Baseball. And then we have football all over again. It's going to be a lot of fun. Super excited about it. Yes. Really appreciate you guys' support out there. If you have any other questions, hit them up down in the comment section. Either myself or Kyle or some random person will answer your question, and we'll build a community one person at a time. It's going to be a lot of fun. We really appreciate you guys. We'll talk to you later. Thanks.
Thanks. Bye.